time to grab our horns once more and get to it. Let's get started. Hi, Bryan from Airflow Music here once again. Welcome back to another video. This is day 28 in our Go Practice Daily series. Hope you're all having a good day today. This has been a busy day for me, but it has been lovely as the videos have published the last 2 days. I sat for a moment and read through some comments earlier on, and so many lovely messages from so many of you. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. I'm so glad to hear that you're finding success having played these exercises, and that things outside in the world when you play with your groups and all that different kind of stuff is working out better for you. That's wonderful to hear, and I really do appreciate the messages and you all watching and being here. Thank you very much. With that, let's get into the exercises for today, because I've finally been able to sit down and record these a little later in the evening than usual. So I'm going to get straight into it. So we're doing exercise 1, we're on to set 5 now. As I failed to say early in the video yesterday, we are on set 5 now, and of course, as always, it's available to download from the Airflow Music online store. It's a free downloadable PDF as ever. So you'll find the link for that down below. Please go and grab it, and you'll be able to follow along and practice these with or without the video. Okay? So go over there and grab that, and we'll get into it. This is the same thing we've been doing. We're now on the minor thirds because we're on set 5. And so we can more or less crack into it. The rules remain the same. Personally, I'm playing this long setting, so I'm keeping the mouthpiece on my lips throughout the entire exercise for exercise 1. That's your choice whether you're doing that or not. I suggest that it's a good idea to build up towards it, but as you wish. That's fine either way. Otherwise, the rules remain the same. So we're going at 60 beats a minute. I'm focusing on playing in time, so I'm tapping my foot and mentally subdividing the beat into 16th notes to really try and stay on the tempo. I am breath starting the first note of each 4-bar phrase, and then breathing in time on the rest bar, which is the 4th bar of the 4-bar phrase. Out for 2 beats, in for 2 beats. Because I'm doing this long setting, that's a nose breath for me. Your mileage may vary. Okay? Other than that, I don't think there's too much else to say. So let's get into exercise 1. Oh, I know what there is to say. Like I say, I'm playing this a little late at night. So I'm going soft and playing with a cut mute, just to keep the noise down a little bit for my neighbours. Let's get into it. Okay, so that was exercise 1. Generally, on the whole, as I've been saying for days now, it's going off fairly smoothly, but that's quite as it should be because we're playing something very similar all the time. Because I was playing so softly, a couple of things didn't speak quite as securely as I might have liked. And I think generally that's a sign to me that I do need to back off on my volume now that these are established a little more. So I start to play these things a little softer in general, because that's always good for the response and getting the lips to move with the air nice and easily. So that'll be a good thing moving forward. But other than that, you know, everything's going pretty good with them. How are you finding them? This is my consistent question, but it's always good to hear. And, you know, like I say, because these are so similar, the big differences we'll see as we move into the exercise 2, because that changes more. And talking of exercise 2, let's get to it. Now, as I said yesterday, I'm going to go for a slower version of exercise 2 today. Same exercise that we played, but I felt a little uneven and a little forced in places, trying to keep everything moving at that slightly faster tempo. So let's take it once at 60 beats a minute instead. I think there's probably just once that I'll do it, and then I'll go back to 72. But then, of course, if you prefer it slower, you'll have this one to refer to, rather than faster ones that'll come later in the week. That's the change we're making over yesterday, so this is the same. We've got the 3 bars of 16th notes or semiquavers, the whole note, 2 bars rest in each phrase. As always, first bar of 16ths is slurred, second bar is tongued, third bar, 2 beats each, slurred and tongued. And on the bars rest, we are getting the horn off the lips, breaking that seal with the mouthpiece, and resetting in time for the next downbeat. Okay, nothing else to it. Once again, I'm playing with the cut mute. I'm going softly because that's what I need to do at this time of the evening. And so, other than that, let's get into it. Okay, so there's exercise 2 for today. Now, overall I felt much better about that. Going at the slower tempo was good for me. That let me really start to get particularly the alternate fingering flexibility type pairs moving a little more smoothly and evenly. And so I felt good about that. What I caught myself dealing with was that I've let my fingering get sloppy. I'm, for instance, letting my fingers fly off the buttons, as I mentioned in the video the other week, and there's a certain couple of fingering combinations that tend to encourage that to happen. In particular, ones where I'm keeping the second valve down, moving the third valve. My first finger wants to kind of float like that. And that's something I think I need to nip in the bud and get under control a little bit. So that's something I'm going to be focusing on because it's been highlighted by this particular interval in a couple of different spots. So that's something I'll be focusing on for the rest of the week and trying to get under control a little bit. Other than that, it was generally okay. I noticed also that I either need to clean my horn or get my water key fixed because I'm having trouble actually getting that water out. So there was a little gurgling in the sound by the end, but that's what that was. That's a mechanical thing. That's not me, so I'm not too worried about that. But it's something I'll need to pay attention to and try and get it sorted. Other than that, that went off pretty well. You know, I felt much better about it. So, what did you think about the tempo for this one? How did you find that going a little slow? I think it's probably helpful. Although equally, having done that and found some smoothness through those, I think it will be good to try and move forward again. Increase the tempo once more, and maybe even increase it further by the end of the week and start to get these going smoothly. Generally, to preempt the kind of comments that are going to come, what I look for to make those wider intervals, the flexibility type ones, smooth, is to make sure once again that my breath support's in place. So my core is engaged, I breathe so my chest comes up, and if I keep that up, then the arch of my tongue is going to be more encouraged to work, and small movements are going to do the job more easily. Okay? Not going to have to lean on it too much. It should start to work nice and fluidly. And again, these are flexibilities. These are not really lip flexibilities, because I don't feel like it's the lip that really does the work. The lips change and the move and the aperture changes. Certainly, absolutely, 100% that happens, but that's not something that I actively do in the process of playing them. And I think that's an important distinction to make. When I'm doing that most efficiently, then I'm not moving my lips, the air is moving my lips. And that's a distinction, again, which I think is important to make. So, you know, that's what I'm looking out for. And the stability exercises, and having played these, you know, we're into our 5th week now, for so long regularly, my corners are starting to get locked down pretty well. And the motion is starting to creep out of there. It's not too pronounced. I start to feel like it's not any more than it needs to be, at least for where I'm at with these things at this stage. Anyway, once again, how are you finding this? How's your experience with these, and in particular these, now we're doing the direct minor third interval. How are you finding that to deal with? Are you able to get it smooth? If you're having any problems with it, anything specific that you notice that seems to make it challenging, please do ask about it, because I'll try and address it in the videos for the rest of the week. Okay? So, other than that, I think that's it for this one. The downside to doing it slowly, of course, that it makes exercise 2 very long to play. So, that was about 1.5 minutes longer than yesterday's. So, I should try and keep the video somewhat short. Too late, but there we go. Okay? So, all the usual stuff applies. If you've enjoyed this video and playing the exercises, please do hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you for the next one tomorrow. In the meantime, you know what to do. Go practice.